Have you ever wondered what the world looks like from a horse's perspective? What they think, what they feel, and what stories they would tell if they could speak our language. Today, we're diving into a timeless classic that does exactly that. We're exploring Anna Sewell's masterpiece, Black Beauty, a novel that's not just a story about a horse, but a powerful call for kindness that changed the world. Published in 1877, Black Beauty was revolutionary. It's an autobiography, but the author isn't a person, it is a handsome black horse with a white star on his forehead. From his earliest days as a playful colt in a lush green meadow, Black Beauty's life is a journey filled with ups and downs, taking him from the care of loving owners to the hands of those who see him as nothing more than a tool. The story begins in a beautiful country estate called Birtwick Park. This is where Black Beauty spends his idyllic youth. His first owner, Farmer Gray, and his mother, Duchess, teach him his first and most important lesson: to always be good, gentle, and do his work with a good will. He learns from his mother that nobility isn't about bloodline, but about behavior. This strong moral foundation guides him throughout his entire life. At Birtwick Park, under the care of the kind and wise Squire Gordon, Black Beauty forms deep friendships with other horses, like the spirited Mare Ginger and the plucky little pony Merrylegs. Ginger's story is a tragic one. She's feisty and sometimes ill-tempered, but we soon learn it's because she was treated cruelly as a young horse. Her story shows us that an animal's behavior is often a direct result of how they've been treated. Merrylegs, on the other hand, is a comical and sweet pony beloved by the children, showing the joyful bond animals and humans can share. Life at Birtwick Park is peaceful and content. The stable hands, John Manley and James Howard, are compassionate and understand the horses' needs. They treat them not as machines, but as living, feeling beings. This part of the book is filled with warmth, showcasing an ideal relationship between humans and animals, one built on mutual respect and understanding. But as we know, life is full of changes, and this perfect chapter of Black Beauty's life is about to come to an end. Squire Gordon's wife falls ill, and they are forced to leave England for a warmer climate. This means they must sell all their horses. The parting is heartbreaking. Black Beauty and Ginger are sold to Earlshall Park, the home of an earl and his fashionable wife. And this is where their fortunes begin to change dramatically. At Earlshall Park, the horses are subjected to the cruel and dangerous fashion of the time, the bearing rein. This was a strap used to pull a horse's head high, forcing their neck into an elegant but unnatural and painful arch. Anna Sewell wrote this book specifically to protest this practice. Through Black Beauty's eyes, we feel the constant strain, the difficulty in breathing, and the sheer agony of being forced into this position for hours on end, all for the sake of human vanity. Ginger, with her fiery spirit, rebels against the bearing rein, which only leads to harsher punishments. Black Beauty endures it, but it takes a toll. One day, a careless stable hand's mistake leads to a terrible accident. Black Beauty falls and badly injures his knees, leaving him with permanent scars. No longer considered perfect enough for the high society family, he is sold once again. This marks the beginning of Black Beauty's descent into a much harsher world. He becomes a job horse, rented out to inexperienced riders who pull on his mouth and whip him without cause. He learns that many people simply don't understand horses. They don't realize that a twitch of the ear or a flick of the tail is a form of communication. They don't understand that a horse needs rest just as much as a human does. His journey takes a darker turn when he is sold to a corn dealer and then to a London cab driver. The life of a London cab horse in the 19th century was brutal. The streets were chaotic, the work was grueling, and the conditions were often squalid. Black Beauty is overworked, underfed, and exposed to all kinds of weather. He sees horses collapsing from exhaustion, whipped until they bleed, and treated as disposable. Yet, even in these dark times, there are glimmers of hope and humanity. He has a brief but happy period with a kind-hearted cab driver named Jerry Barker. Jerry is a wonderful man who treats Black Beauty with the same compassion as his first owners. He understands that a well-cared-for horse is a happy and willing partner. He never overworks Black Beauty, gives him his Sundays off to rest, and talks to him as a friend. The chapters with Jerry and his family are some of the most moving in the book, showing that kindness can exist even in the toughest of environments. Unfortunately, Jerry's health fails, and he is forced to give up his cab and move to the country, meaning Black Beauty must be sold yet again. This is perhaps the lowest point of his life. He is sold to a ruthless owner who works his horses to the bone. He is old, weak, and his spirit is nearly broken. He stands in a horse fair, a shadow of his former self, believing his life is nearing its end. He's on the verge of being sold for slaughter, but then, a miracle happens. A young man, a groom, recognizes him. It's Joe Green, the young stable boy from Birtwick Park, all grown up. Joe remembers the gentle black horse from his youth. He convinces his mistress to buy the old worn-out horse. Black Beauty is taken to a new home, a final peaceful sanctuary. He is nursed back to health, and who does he find there? His old caretaker, Joe Green. As Joe lovingly grooms him, he recognizes the horse by his white star and a few other small marks. He exclaims, "It's Black Beauty!" And the horse knows he is finally truly home. The story ends with Black Beauty living out the rest of his days in peace and comfort, surrounded by the kindness he knew as a colt. His last words in the book are, "My troubles are all over, and I am at home." Black Beauty is so much more than a children's story. When Anna Sewell wrote it, she said her goal was to induce kindness, sympathy, and an understanding treatment of horses. She succeeded beyond her wildest dreams. The book became an anthem for the animal welfare movement. It was instrumental in the campaign to abolish the cruel bearing rein and led to widespread changes in how people viewed and treated working animals. The story teaches us a profound lesson in empathy. By putting us directly in Black Beauty's horseshoes, it forces us to see the world from a completely different point of view. We feel his joy, his fear, his pain, and his loyalty. We understand that animals are not unfeeling objects, but complex beings with their own thoughts, emotions, and needs. The message of Black Beauty is as relevant today as it was in 1877. It reminds us that every living creature deserves to be treated with compassion and respect. Whether it's a horse, a dog, a cat, or any other animal, our actions have a direct impact on their well-being. Anna Sewell's timeless tale is a powerful reminder that true nobility isn't about status or appearance, but about the kindness we show to those who are in our care. So, if you haven't read Black Beauty, or if it's been a long time, I highly recommend picking it up. It's a beautifully written, deeply moving story that will stay with you long after you finish the last page. It's a book that truly has the power to change hearts and minds. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey through a literary classic. What are your memories of Black Beauty? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more deep dives into the stories that shape our world. See you next time.